Hi there, and welcome back to the Hub of Junior Golf Podcast. I'm Ryan Burr, joined as always by the founder of the Junior Golf Hub, Roger Nick. And Roger is certainly a special guest today with a two-time PGA Tour winner, college All-American, Matt Every, coming on the program just to talk a little bit about he wasn't one of those quote-unquote made kids at 11 that you and I talk a lot about that, you know, your journey is not over at 12 and 13. There are some that are just later bloomers, and I think it'll be a good conversation just to, someone that obviously did make it all the way to the highest level, and some of the challenges and tribulations they encountered in their junior career on the way, obviously, to making it all the way to the top.
Yeah, well, he's not just the average All-American. He was a four-time All-American, which is a rare feat in today's game. I think he's one of, maybe four in the history of the NCAA Division I, a four-time All-American. So, and I think we've had all but one on the station here on the Hub podcast. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, and it's very interesting, Ryan, like how just reading some articles this morning about that, right? About what the amateurism looks like going forward in the game of golf. And it's going to be very interesting in the next few years, what NIL's doing, what the betting sites are doing now, what the NCAA just passed and allowing betting sites to take or schools to take on sponsorships with these sites. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no doubt. And we welcome in the four-time All-American from the University of Florida, two-time PGA Tour winner. Boy, I didn't realize your resume was that impressive, sir, but thanks for coming on the podcast today.
You got it. I forget about the college stuff sometimes.
Well, it's been many years ago, Matt, but not so long ago for Ryan and I. We just getting out of school, so.
So, Matt, obviously, this podcast is the podcast of record for the tens of thousands of junior golfers around the world, kind of giving them a roadmap, if you will, to how to achieve their ultimate dream. For most families, it is to play college golf, maybe an unrealistic dream, but for many dreams, it's obviously to go on to the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour. I want to start with you as a junior golfer, because I do believe there is a stigma in the world now that you have to be an AJGA All-American. And again, this is not a slight at the AJGA. They do an amazing job at identifying talent and putting players in college. But there is a stigma that it's the only way. And I know your path was a little bit different, as Roger said, one of just a handful of four-time All-Americans in the history of the NCAA. Walk us through how you ultimately made it to Florida and how you did it without taking the traditional path.
Yeah, like you said, this is not a slight towards the AJGA at all. They do amazing things, but I have kids now too, and I realize how expensive youth sports are. It's out of control, and the beauty of our sport, there's nothing subjective about it. It is there's a hard line. You are what you are. You are what you shoot. And man, if you're good enough, I will always believe there's a way through the cracks to the next level, whatever that is. For me, I got into competitive junior golf, I would say pretty late for a tour player. It was like high school for me, which is late. I played basketball in high school till my sophomore year. My best friend's parents owned a public golf course in Daytona Beach called Riviera Country Club, and it was great. I basically lived there in the summers, like just dominating whatever I was doing, just developing my craft. Basically, there was no TrackMan. I wasn't videoing my swing, and I don't think a lot of guys were at this point. This is 25 years ago. So I mean, we're not too far off on time. But yeah, I had an opportunity. I got good enough late. I probably played a couple AJGA events, and then I qualified for a U.S. Junior, which is always a great, way to showcase yourself. There's there's qualifiers everywhere, around where you live. And then I got noticed by a couple of the coaches in Florida, and it just worked out from there. I will say, like, if you're a junior golfer and you're not like the best right now, that it's totally fine. You do not want to be the best at 14 years old. You do not want to be the best at 15 years old. You want to be, you want to be there, but you want a guy or a girl a little bit better than you around you, and have a target, something to chase every day. Like chase something every day, measure yourself every day. Those are ways to get better, I think.
Matt, with that being said, and again, great to have you on. Thanks for coming on the show. Today's game has changed so much, not because of technology, not because of I think coaching and a lot of things as we know today, right? Everybody's got their TrackMan and their foresight and blah blah. But the reality is, money has really changed and is changing the landscape of junior golf far more than I thought we'd ever see it at this point. So much so is we're seeing junior golfers with NIL monies or deals that are now determining or kind of predicting where they may end up in college, which, as we know, the college game is completely in disarray in so many ways because of money and NIL. To your point, kids are developing at different times, and there's different things that's going to happen. But today, more kids who are getting NIL money or getting these deals to get online, to get followers, colleges are actually seeking some of these kids out because it brings attention to their programs. You think that's a mistake?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I think we're going to see this sort itself out here in the next couple of years, not just in golf, but in all of college sports. I'm living it. I'm face first in it right now with my kids in youth sports. I'm playing doing travel baseball with my boy, and it's like, if you don't do it,
Yeah.
are you out of the game? I mean, what's the deal? Like, I thought
Right.
high school baseball was, the peak, and then you get recruited out of there. But it's just the whole landscape's changed. To me, guys, it feels like a bit of a money grab. I mean, we're treating some of these. I know, like, high school, obviously everyone's gone through puberty, but a lot of these athletes that, like my boy right now, hasn't even touched it, and we're playing travel ball and making, like, acting like we're making life decisions when what are we doing here? Like, we don't even know what he's going to be yet. It's I would just say, if I had any advice for anyone that's panicking a little bit right now, I would just say pump the brakes, man. You don't need to be a world beater at 15. Keep getting better every day. Every day, just get a little bit better. Keep filling up the cup, and then eventually it'll overflow, and good things will happen. But in our game, there is room. There, you can find ways through cracks. You are what you are. It's the coolest thing about golf.
Ryan, you're on mute.
You're on mute. Come on, Tiger.
Oh, I don't think so. Am I?
Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha.
You got me now?
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about. Let's rejoin in 3. Let's talk a little bit about your practice habits. Certainly, there are some at a young age now, because it's available, that are married to the numbers, married to launch monitors, etc. You indicated that it's not about self. Is there still room for a field player, or is it just what the device tells you now, Matt?
I think there's room for a field player. Obviously, everyone's going to want one of those. I'm not going to get on here and just dog TrackMan. I know that's a necessary evil right now. It is. It's a big reason why all the young guys are hitting it further, because they're taught, these devices or radar systems teach you how to, measure all these forces in places we didn't know when we were kids, like, at all. I mean, when I hear someone tell me, "Oh, this, you should see how far this kid hits it," I'm like, yeah, him and everyone else that's young. I mean, everyone does it.
Yeah.
To your point about practicing, though, I do think, there is something to like when I'm doing the TV now and I'm watching guys, like some of the sickest short games I see are guys, there's no way that they were videoing their stuff their whole, you know, childhood growing up playing golf.
Hmm.
Abe Answer, sick short game. I mean, sick. There's no way anyone touched that guy. There's no way. It's all his. It's all his. And there probably wasn't a lot of video going on. Cam Smith, same thing. And I know these guys have coaches, but you can't teach these things that they have. And I think sometimes when we go to the range and we stick a machine next to us every time, we do get married to the number. And the number is great, but the number doesn't cash checks. It doesn't. Your hands and your heart and your mind do, and just, you know, your insides matter a lot more too. I've seen a lot of really good, you know, with Instagram now and social media, you see a lot of good golf swings. There's a ton of good golf swings out there. There's a ton of good golf swings on the PGA Tour have never won yet.
Yeah.
And they're TrackMan guys. There's something to that, I think. So I do think there's room for it. But you know, I also understand that it's part of the game now too.
Yeah, Matt, we talk a lot about at the Golf Performance Academy, a lot about developing skills and the golf skills, what it takes, you know, for putting, you know, short game, you know, just controlling your golf ball. And we use a system called Player Development Index or assessments, right? Because golf, I think what you're saying is golf is still a game of skills. It's the skills of mental skills. It's a game of golf skills. It's a game of heart skills, whatever you want to call it. You still just have to get the ball in the hole, you know, with least amount of strokes if you want to win or actually compete at this game, right? So I think a lot of parents and a lot of players, to your point, are getting so caught up on all the technologies and all the science and forgetting that it's still, you've got to apply those things to the skills that you need to actually perform at their highest level, not just. I remember working years and years ago, Tom Pertzer, who had one of the best golf swings on tour for many years, voted by his peers best golf swing, just couldn't break through on the winner's circle. I mean, and he was so frustrated by why he wasn't winning more in more tournaments, but he was so obsessed with having the best looking golf swing on tour, right? So
it doesn't matter.
It does matter, right?
No, well, having the best looking swing doesn't matter one bit out there.
Right, that's right. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot
There's
of these.
plenty of guys with prettier swings. Go ahead. Sorry, Roger.
No, I was just go ahead.
No, I was just saying there's plenty of guys out there with prettier swings than me that have not won. It's an easy trap for kids to fall into now too, because you know everyone's putting their swing up on their platform, and you know we kind of live in a look at me world, but I'm telling you right now that is not where it's at. It's not.
Right. Well, here's a great example. So we're just at a very prestigious event down at Innisbrook with the juniors this past weekend. There were probably, I don't know, 15, 16 college coaches there watching and seeing some of the players, you know, show their wares. And we happened to have one of our young men who was playing, a really good player, won a few times already. The coaches were watching on, I think it was like the fifth tee box or something like that, a good driver. And he hits his drive, and about four of the coaches walk away, and all they said was, his swing won't hold up. And I'm kind of going, wow, that's so interesting and so short-sighted. You have no idea what this kid had to do to get here, and has already won, who's already top in his state.
If I heard a coach say that, I would question the coach more than the player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Lazy coaching. All right, guys, I got to run. I got to go on air.
Awesome. Matt, thank you. Thanks for showing up, and good luck. We'll see you soon.
You got it. RB, I can't hear a word you're saying, buddy, but I love you.
All right. Bye-bye. Roger, interesting for sure. He has a different kind of perspective, but it is someone that absolutely made it not traditional. Did not grow up with a lot of advantages financially, and really, it is your classic story that you hear more maybe football, basketball players that parents really sacrificed to even just give him the opportunity. Got lucky with a friend that had a public golf course, very similar to Noda. I mean, Noda went at age 9 and bartered picking up balls at a range for him in return to be able to hit balls. These are two guys that did not have the private jet all the way to the top. I mean, they absolutely dug it out. But I think, when both guys had opportunities to win, Noda 4 times, Matt twice, both amazing college careers, I believe, and I'm curious for your take on this, I believe that the struggle, I believe that the fight to just even have a chance when they were put in position to win, they were actually much in a better position mentally and intestinal fortitude to be able to close the deal than someone that didn't go through the life struggles that they dealt with.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, adversity forged more men than anything, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things that we forget. Adversity that everyone overcomes, whatever it may be, whether it's a struggle, economic, social background, whether it's dyslexia, whatever it may be, whatever that struggle is, it is so important that people be patient with themselves, because that persistence and that overcoming those adversities really is the secret to success, right? Angela Duckworth did a great study on grit. And that was what really came out of it, which was those who struggled most early had greater success later, right?
Wow.
Who stuck with it. So I think that's one of the things that our society today is actually, in fact, missing, right? I mean, we see it all the time in our junior golf events, right? My kid's not playing well. Let's pull them out. The ranking's going to drop. We don't want them to suffer, right? We don't want them to have a bad score. But in fact, it would be the most important thing they could do for that young person, whether girl or boy, right? So I think we have it backwards a little bit on that. So
that brings me to what we are doing right now with PDI. The Nota Begay III Junior Golf National Championship Tour, really going outside the box here. This is completely revolutionary to really any sport in any youth athletic. It is taking a performance development index and ultimately using that to determine players that will go all the way to the championship. So it truthfully, Roger, has nothing to do on golf score. It has nothing to do with TrackMan. Can guys hit it? Can guys hit a draw? Can gals hit a cut? Can you hit a straight ball? Can you hit a high ball? Can you hit a low ball? Have you ever even practiced that before? Right. Or is your coach and your TrackMan, we are just working on getting these two numbers and don't even think about other parts of the game? Because, hey, there is going to be a time where you have got to move a ball left around a tree or right around a tree, or and if you're just a one-trick pony because that's the way you practiced, it's going to cost you at some point. So jgnc.org, it's already completely blown up across the world that the players are getting self-assessed, going on the worldwide leaderboard, and more importantly, ready for these events where they will get a PDI score, and ultimately the 8 best will find their way to play on Golf Channel. I thought Matt was a really good guest, only because essentially he was doing PDI when he was at a golf course by himself because he didn't have a teacher next to him. He wasn't videoing his swing. He was having fun and seeing what he could make the golf ball do.
Mm-hmm.
And PDI obviously offers a lot more structure than that, Roger, which is important, especially as kids struggle. I always say the biggest problem in junior golf is kids don't know how to practice.
Yeah.
They quantify their practice, Roger, by the amount of time at the range. I spent this amount of minutes, hours, X, Y, Z. And that quantifies whether you had a good practice, Roger, or a bad practice.
Well, really, the thing that quantifies a good or bad practice is how many Instagram likes you got because you posted your setup and how it looked, right? Hey, #grind session, right? So, I mean, we see that so often. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Matt was doing, what I mean, it's really the infancy of what PDI really was all about when I created it, which was I'm just watching the best players in the world. And I remember practicing with Nick Faldo and him telling me the importance of ball control, distance control, and knowing how to do that under practice conditions, play conditions, and obviously major competition conditions, right? And if you don't know those skills or don't have those skills, don't ask yourself to do them when you got on the golf course when you know you haven't actually done those, right? So it really was it was a great eye opener for me, but then it just actually made me feel much better about quantifying my practices. So when I journaled my practices after every single day, it was going, did I hit my chips? Did I hit my putts? Did I hit my full swings? Did I actually work the golf ball? Did I hit my non-ball flight? Did I go out and actually go up and down and do my up and down games and score? So because that's what golf is. It's just, as we said earlier, a game of skills. So we want to see players go have fun with it. And I'm so excited about what you guys are doing at MB3. And, to have a kid who may come from obscurity, who's done a golf, a self-assessment and a coach-guided assessment somewhere at an event because they heard about it, have the opportunity to showcase what they could do or may be able to do is so exciting to me because I think that's what we're looking for. I think if we can get this out there in the world, we're going to see more players like a Matt Every come out and go, you know what? I don't have to go see and have the most expensive TrackMan or the most expensive coach. I can actually do these things on my own and learn golf skill. I don't need to see it. I just need to do it. Right. So that's so important in my mind, getting to the large audience of junior golfers around the globe.
It's interesting. I had a conversation with John Fields, the head legendary Hall of Fame coach at University of Texas, who's obviously been on this program before. And listen, when you're at Texas, you generally get the player you want, or at least you're in the mix for getting that player that you want. He said that the jumping off point when they start looking at putting their list together in a ninth grade. So that's when they at least start to gather information. If they had the PDI score to quantify a lot of things that they just can't find out until they're all the way on a recruiting trip, eyeballing someone in competition, and that's where they find out, oh, okay, that wasn't what I was expecting to see. Not sure that's going to work at the University of Texas, but the time and the energy has already been spent. I think he is the biggest proponent that if every junior golfer can just have this score next to their scoring average, which it doesn't seem like that big of a task, their job, not that there's not a place for everyone. It's just the wasted time that this would just make it for everyone. Your slot would be a little more defined.
Yeah. I mean, you know my vision, Ryan. You know my passion is junior golf and how do we actually elevate the game of junior golf and development. Thinking that through and hearing these coaches say those kind of things just makes me more enthusiastic about what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. And even so, the national program is going to need a platform in which more kids are going to be developing and not just tournament developers. Yeah, I get, listen, you're going to always have to go to the cream of the crop to get, a lot of times, get things started. But you also have to work on the bottom of that as well and give some hope and also help them learn between the tournaments what's really happening, what really matters. And I just think at some point we're going to see a landscape where every junior golfer is going to have their junior golf ID, is going to have their PDI. They're going to be listed on the Junior Golf Hub, and they're going to have all of their tournaments, recorded right there in that space. And they're going to be in one universe versus having to think they've got to jump in so many different universes to get coaches to recognize them. Just doesn't make any sense to me.
Because junior golf is so fractured, because there are so many different universes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our country, it's a big country, you know, it's a
That's it,
really
yeah.
big country, and there are different pockets that it becomes more and more difficult. You know, I get the developmental team. I do have some concerns, Roger, of is that developmental team really going to find its way to Matt and Noda? Or is that development team going to take the best 12-year-old in the world, in the US, that is already been identified at 12, and that 12-year-old is going to get the treatment at 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way to college, which in theory, it's almost the way it exists right now, in that you can kind of buy your way. I hate to say that. You have to be a really good player. You have to be a really good player. But certainly there are, with the current system we have, there are advantages to a financial background that can put you in position where you are at least perceived to be one of those top players, which then get the benefit of the development team. Again, I don't hate the idea of it. I'm just wondering if someone doesn't put the toothpaste back in the tube nationally in junior golf, as fractured as it is right now, is this even really going to change anything?
Yeah, no, no doubt, Ryan. I mean, I think I told you a while back, it's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now, that had a conversation with Mike Wan at USGA. Great conversation, great guy. Love talking with him about this program. And, you know, what I left that conversation with was this idea that we don't have a governing body for junior golf. We have a governing body for rules. We have a governing body for the PGA of America. We have a governing body for the PGA Tour, but we don't really have a governing body that wakes up every single day thinking about junior golf development. These young people, as people growing and developing, and their futures are somewhat in the balance, right? Is not to be dramatic, but the parent of that junior golfer is going, my kid, if they don't make it, what are they going to do, right? Or if they don't get recruited, what are we going to do? And they put so much effort into it. So my thought is that I hope someday I'll be in a position to put us in a position, you know, you, me, Noda, Annika, the people that are really pushing, you know, what we say is development, in a position to really be the governing body of what happens in junior golf, so that we actually have some kind of symbiotic relationship with the entire, you know, golf world, not just this idea that, okay, well, we'll trickle down whatever the adults are doing, we'll just trickle down to the, you know, juniors. And because so many, as you said, so many fractured elements to this game, no one's really looking at what's actually happening here. I mean, every single day, and I think Matt will say he went through a lot of this turmoil himself from a mental health standpoint. It's very difficult for our young people today to think that their society is setting them up for really great success, because the pressure that's being put on them, whether it's athletically or academically or just societal, and saying, how do I survive? I mean, think about those three pressures coming down on a 15, 16-year-old kid, when all the eggs are in that basket from a family going, you've got to make it or else, right? What are we doing? How are we actually helping protect those kids too? So this is a big part of the overall philosophy of what we're trying to do, I think, Ryan, is saying, hey, how do we, you and Noda did a great thing by creating the tour that you guys created, to say, we're going to help you no matter what. You're going to get a chance to play. We don't care where you're coming from. We don't care if you have the money to do it. You're going to get an opportunity to do this. So don't sweat it. We're going to support you. And I think we just need more of that, versus the idea of going, if you can't get to this tournament because it's this amount of money or it's across the country, and that's the only way to get into college, something's wrong.
So, and
sorry, I didn't mean to be on the soapbox there.
I didn't want to go down this path, but
yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
So if you look now at, let's just take Little League Baseball, for example. Every kid plays Little League Baseball. You sign up and you get 20 games. You choose to play in the fall, you get 20 more. The travel, there's all those different things. I know for my kid doing this process, looking back, the biggest problem or one of the biggest hurdles we had was scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I mean by that. I was obviously Golf Channel, golf's happening on the weekend, so I'm working pretty much every Saturday, Sunday. That's when the junior golf tournaments are, especially, if so traveling really wasn't a real, it certainly was for some events, but like, once a month we weren't traveling to a different state to be able to play in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, and my wife brought this up. She's like, when he plays 2 or 3 weeks in a row, all that pressure and anxiety by the third week is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is my third week in a row, or this is my third time in 6 weeks or whatever. Like it's not, I'm playing 6 events a year. I have to make these I have to play so well. I'm only going to get 6 tries.
All right.
But the reality is when you reach a certain point, they're just either they're organizations asking for $600 to play 36 holes.
Mm-hmm.
That certainly doesn't make any sense under my model when I can go just play the course for 10% of that. It just that always bothered me. But if you aren't willing to do that and you can't travel every weekend or every other weekend, it comes down to, there's just nowhere to play.
Mm-hmm.
Keep practicing. We're going to play these 6, 7 events on our schedule that are all big events. I mean, he was obviously a really good player. That we're going to play 6, 7 really big events, but that's where the anxiety came from. Little League Baseball, you play on Tuesday night, you go 0 for 4. Guess what? Friday afternoon, you're playing again.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, that 0 for 4 is gone so quick, and you look at the schedule and there's game. I just think I think a lot of that anxiety, this is from my own experience, was just the lack of places to really play competitive golf where, you weren't taking out a second mortgage for it.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, I'm going to go back to that 0 for 4 scenario, right? So in baseball, for example, versus golf, an 0 for 4 may on the surface look like a bad thing, but it could be 0 for 4 and have 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
Right. It could be 0 for 4 and have, 6 runners batted in. I mean, so it's a difference between that team sport game and golf, where you go shoot 80, you're just 6 over, 8 over somewhere, and all of a sudden your worlds come to an end, right? In the golf world, right? Because you're the individual and you're shooting that score. And baseball, what a great team player. You drove in runs, you were 0 for 4, but you made a couple good plays in the field.
Yep.
That kid is in a coach's mind, he's a team player.
Yeah.
Right. But in golf, it's an individual sport. You shoot 80, 81, or you shoot 80, 74. The college coach is going, okay, great bounce back, but it concerns me that 74 wasn't a 72, the 80 was an 80, right? Versus, 68, right? So,
and then you're not going to play for 6 more weeks to have a chance to erase that.
Right. That's right.
Case.
Or you're not going to play in an event that's recognized
right
high enough that you can erase that. Because again, back to what we're trying to accomplish with our relationship is golf should be rewarded for playing developmentally. That's why our JGH rankings now, reward golfers who go out and play golf. We don't want to punish you for playing. We want to, hey, go. We know your majors. You got 6 majors in your season. Okay, great. But you're going to play another probably 20 tournaments or 15 tournaments. So now you can actually go play and not worry about whether you miss out or not, right? So the anxiety of that build up to, okay, I've got the AJGA qualifier coming up for this big event. If I don't make it, I'm the biggest loser ever, and then I got to wait again to play. No, you can go play again. You know what? Go get into NB3 regional qualifier. Go do those things. Go do a 100%. Local. Go. So
you got kids need junior golf. Even in the hot populated states, it's not as easy as people think to be able to put a schedule together.
No, it's actually somewhat harder. One, because it is hot and it is really difficult to
Right.
say, hey, I'm going to put my kid out there in 102-degree weather back-to-back days. I mean, I don't want to make people sound like they're pansies, but that's not easy to do, right? And then travel. If you got to go 45 minutes, and again, to your point, if I'm a parent who's working, whatever, that's difficult, and it's during the week. I mean, there's some difficulties there too. So it's not that easy, and there's so many choices.
We're not
now.
going to solve it on this podcast, but certainly we are aligned, and the best thing that will come out of this, and certainly I think the way Matt made it all the way to the top is another great example. If you are downloading your free app Self-Assessment now, to just go out and do the self-assessment and see from just a creative golf standpoint what your son or daughter is capable of doing creatively, moving the ball, hitting it high, hitting it low, certainly chipping, putting, all the different things that come with PDI, that it's going to give you a much better sense of where your player is. And probably more important than anything else, they played 3 hours today. What a great practice. Well, the next time you practice and you once again go to your self-assessment, you can do it as many times as you want. You actually have a bar that you set for yourself that you're now going to work to go one step further. And I can't tell you, I wish we had it. I wish so much we had it, because I think our practices would have massively improved with PDI, and I'm glad that the kids today will have this opportunity, Roger.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Dr. Anders Ericsson said, I would work with him on efficiency practices, right? So he was talking about the idea that if you challenge yourself in practice on a regular basis every day for 30 minutes, is more important than practicing for 4 hours every other day or once every 5 days, right?
Wow.
So it is not the once a time, it's once a week. It's the discipline to do it every day. If you do it 30 minutes, right? That's what the PDI coach guided assessment really is. It's a 30-minute practice.
Yeah.
But if you just did that every single day, I promise you'll be better than 99% of all players out there in the world.
That's the message. That's the way to end it. That is exactly what we are trying to do. jgnc.org. Put yourself on the worldwide leaderboard. It's as easy as just downloading the free self-assessment app and getting the process started. You hear Roger and I talk about it each and every week. Just do it now. It's going to be take this country by storm as we're now moving into golf season. So great podcast today. Certainly thank Matt for joining us today as he jumps on television. As always, Roger, we thank you, our producer and director, Michael Nick, for getting us on the air and getting my microphone working. As always, we say thanks to Michael, and we will see you next time on the Hub of Junior Golf Podcast.